Hello, I wanted to spend a little bit of time going through the justification PowerPoint so that we could have more time for interaction and questions during our Teams meeting this week. So without further ado, here's the justification slideshow. Of course, we're going to talk about the structure of the paper and how to do that. One thing to keep in mind, I'm sure you know by now, but I just want to reiterate, we're doing one big paper in 3 sections. The problem solution was the first section. Consider that the introduction. Now we're moving into the justification paper, which is the body of the paper. So you'll present a thesis, and then you'll develop the 3 points of that thesis. And then the final paper, which will be coming up in November, will be the opposition, and then voila, you will have your research paper. So keep that in mind as we go through. I hope to have your problem solution papers graded by Friday of this week. As soon as you get notification that your problem solution paper has been graded, you want to go ahead and start revising that paper, because you will put the justification paper into the same document. So when you submit the final draft of your justification paper, included in that final draft will be the revised problem solution. So the paper that you turn in should be between 2,000 to 3,000 words, because it's going to have both that problem solution paper that you've already written and then this awesome justification paper that you will be writing this month. So remember, in the problem solution papers, just a quick review, you were going to awaken the reader, describe a problem. The reader/audience must grant you problem status to whatever it is you're arguing about. So you want to make sure that your problem is significant enough that people want to do something about it. So then in the solution, you showed your reader the specifics of what you were going to do and the feasibility of your proposal, and then you argued that your proposal is, or the problem is, solvable. But hopefully in the solution section, you didn't go into the positive changes that would occur as a result of this solution. So that's kind of the key idea for the justification, is that you're arguing for your solution. So there's a slide in here for the A004 Monday, Wednesday section that has all of your due dates listed. And there is a slide for the A007 Tuesday, Thursday section that has all of the due dates for the justification paper listed. These are a little bit different from what is on the syllabus, because remember, we pushed the problem solution paper back to Friday the 9th. So that's going to take me a little longer to grade because of that. And then, so mainly what has been moved is the revision of the problem solution. So instead of being due this week, it will be due next week. So take a few minutes, write these dates into your calendar or plug them into your phone so that you'll be ready for them and you'll be able to manage this work, especially as the second half of the semester tends to speed up. You really want to make sure that you're ready and organized so that you can manage your time and go ahead and get your classes completed. So let's look at the basics of the justification paper. Very similar to the problem solution paper, except instead of having that 500 word tag on, 1,000 words is your minimum. So you want to try to keep it within that. So you could tell yourself, okay, I'm going to try to do about 325 words for each reason. So if you do have a 3-point thesis statement and you kind of say, okay, each reason's going to get this number of words, and it may not work that way, but that's a good way to break it down in your head. It could be that you have one reason that's more significant than the others, and so it may get a little more, but just as you're getting started, that's a good way to kind of break it down in your mind so that you're not overwhelmed with the idea of, oh my gosh, 1,000 words. So, of course, we're using MLA style documentation. Please, 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 please make sure that the papers you submit have MLA documentation. Papers that have APA style documentation will receive a 0. So we're doing MLA, and that's what I need you to submit. So make sure that especially if you're using online templates and things, you want to make sure that those are MLA 8th edition. Of course, we're going to be using parenthetical references and attributive tags. Attributive tags and parenthetical references are key for direct quotes. And then you know that when you have summaries of information from your sources and paraphrases of information from your sources, you don't have to have the attributive tag for those. However, you are required to give parenthetical citations. And at this point in the semester, you know that if there's no author, you use a keyword from the title in that parenthetical citation. You know that if there are no page numbers, you don't put a page number in the parenthetical citation. So printer page numbers are not publication page numbers. Those are very different. Again, I'm happy to meet with you on Teams or in my office on a Monday or a Tuesday, or to chat with you over the phone, or to answer email questions that you may have about documentation. I will be a bit more strict on the documentation in this justification paper when I'm grading it than I am in the problem solution. So in the problem solution paper, you're kind of a novice, you're just beginning, it's your first time implementing the documentation, so I'll be very forgiving. However, on the justification and then in the opposition and then in the final draft of the whole paper, my expectations will get better and stronger with each paper. So just be aware that you're really working to perfect that MLA. Definitely want a works cited page, and then you're going to incorporate summary, paraphrase, direct quote. You will need 3 new sources. It would be great if one of those was non-electronic. So an interview, if you know someone who's an expert in the field that your paper is on, or if you have a video or a documentary or a newspaper article, or if you can get your hands on a pamphlet. There's such a deep variety of sources that you can use for your papers. It's a shame if all of them come from the web. So challenge yourself, take a little time. I know we've got COVID. I know we're back in the red as Davis County, and so things are going to shut back down. But, if you can find a printed or non-electronic source, that would be awesome. So radio broadcasts, there's a lot of really cool sources that would work for the paper. So 3 sources that are different from the sources you used in the problem solution paper. And then, of course, if you want to go beyond the 3, that is absolutely okay. And you can also, if you have information from the sources you used in the problem solution paper that would benefit and work well in the justification paper, then absolutely re-employ those sources throughout the whole paper. But you do need 3 sources in addition to the ones that you used for the problem solution. So during our Teams meeting, if you have questions and need that clarified, just let me know, and I'm happy to spend some time doing that. Okay, I'm going to pause here, and I'm going to go ahead and go through this slide, but then I'll have to make a part 2 for the video. So let's go ahead and look at just this idea that the justification section we'll begin with your thesis statement. So in this section, this is where you're going to become argumentative and persuasive. It doesn't mean you're going to be condescending and impolite, but you do want to convince your reader that your solution is good enough to be implemented. So that's the idea that you're going for here. So the big idea in the justification section that you're sort of banking on is you're answering the audience's question, well, why should we do this? Why should we make college tuition free? That's ridiculous. So you're going to argue why that would be more beneficial than detrimental. So this, if you're thinking of that sort of 5-paragraph structure essay, where you've got that first paragraph that's the intro, well, you can kind of plug in the problem solution paper into the intro section of that 5-paragraph outline. And so then, you've got your 3 body paragraphs. Well, this is the section that's going to be those 3 body paragraphs, but you're going to have more than 3 paragraphs because it's a research paper. So I like to think in 102 terms of that 5-paragraph essay structure as 5 sections. So the introductory section was the problem solution, and then the body section is going to be your justification paper. So you're going to begin with your thesis. And I'm giving you a template for that. So here at the bottom, and we'll go through this more in depth, and I'll give you multiple examples through the video. But basically, you're going to ask someone or some organization or some group of people to do something. And what you're going to ask them to do is implement your solution. So in this blank spot, you need to put who your audience is, who can implement this solution. And then you're going to have should do, and then X here is basically going to be your solution. So whatever that is, put it in. And then you're going to give 3 reasons as to why the solution should be implemented. So 3 positive changes or 3 positive impacts that implementing the solution will have. So remember, the justification paper focuses on the solution, not on the problem. It may link to the problem in that implementing the solution will reduce issues associated with the problem. But the focus of the justification paper is the solution. So sometimes that's a little bit tricky as students are like, well, I want to write about human trafficking. But then in the solution section of the paper, the solution might be about getting nations to come together to fight human trafficking. So the justification part of the paper becomes a lot about organizing people and the United Nations and the World Health Organization. It becomes more of a paper about working together and not as much about human trafficking. So there could be a shift. So just be aware and be prepared for that and welcome it. That's okay. That's what you're supposed to be doing. So to some extent, the justification section might be a little less interesting to research than the problem solution. So keep that in mind. Okay, so we'll stop here for this video, and then I'll pick up with this slide on the next one.